Hello, guys. This is Connie Bloom from Electric Boys, and you're watching CMS TV.
And what is going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Chris Akin Presents. Chris Akin here on the cell phone on backup power, Mr. Erik Ferentinos. Erik, what's up, brother?
What's up, Chris? How you doing, my man?
I'm good, man. I am having a great day. For those of you that follow along with me, I interviewed my first mobster a couple of hours ago. I interviewed Michael Francis of the Colombo crime family. So that was pretty fucking awesome, to be honest, man. I'm such a mob dork that actually talking to somebody that was involved in that whole world was just awesome to me. So having
What's
a
his
good
deal?
day.
Is he like witness protection program guy now, or what's
No,
up?
you know what, dude? He is the one mob guy that just walked away. He went to prison, and during prison, he found Jesus. And he just decided that he was done, and he walked away from it completely, and just said, "I'm not doing it anymore." And I think he was Wit Pro for a while, but he's out of it now. And like he tells people, where he has like a huge YouTube channel. He's
Okay.
on YouTube all the time talking about the mob, and every episode that he does gets 1 million views. It's fucking nutty.
Every episode's 1 million views. That's
Every
crazy.
episode. Yeah, but dude, this is how I know I was on it. And I won't lie, I did a lot of research getting ready for this because I'm such a mob fan that I was
Right.
like, yeah, this is my chance to actually make a dent. I studied and studied and studied all weekend. I was watching mob shit and Michael Francis stuff, and because he was like a legit player. Like he was the guy that ran the gas sting that made them billions with a B, billions of dollars for the Colombo family. And he was the head guy. So I
The
studied
gas
all of it.
sting. The gas
Yeah.
sting. What's the gas sting for people that don't know, like me?
Oh, what he did was he found a way to, I don't know, I'm going to say pirate, for lack of a better word, pirate gas into gas stations all over New York and New Jersey and whatever,
Okay.
and not pay any taxes. So
I
he
see.
kept, but he charged it, they charged it on the pumps and whatever. So he kept all that money from all these gas stations all over the place. Without any of the, he kept all that tax money. Like he
That's
totally
sweet.
ripped off the government of billions of dollars. And he said he was making at the time that he was, a big deal, he was making like $10 million a week.
Ugh.
10 million a week. That's good coin, man. But,
People love stories like that too. I can see why his channel does good. Does he have his
Oh.
own channel?
Yeah, he has
or-
his own channel, just Michael Francis. He's definitely the most famous mobster to get out of well, I guess maybe Sammy the Bull might be the most, but Sammy didn't. Yeah, I guess Sammy did the same way too. He got out. He's out. But, he's the second most famous, and he's definitely the biggest earner ever to get out. And his father
Right.
was like a major head of a family himself at some point. So, his Michael Sr., I think it's Michael Sr. was a big mob guy. I mean, it was a whole big, for me, this was huge. This was so huge to be interviewing this guy.
Yeah.
And this is what makes me happy about it. At the end of the interview, he said to me and Seth, he goes, "This is one of the best interviews I've ever done. I love it when I don't have to answer the same old questions over and over again." Because I asked him a bunch of different shit. So then I immediately said to him, you'll love this when you see it. I said, "Well, why don't you put this interview up on your YouTube channel? That way we can get those views." He goes, "Sure, send it over. Send it right on over." So I was like, okay. All right, you ready? Watch this. I'm going to do a magic
Maybe.
trick. You ready?
Not yet.
Not yet?
Not yet. Yeah, it looks
I was
like
going to do the magic
I feel like
trick.
I might have to stay on my phone because, like, I can see my computer's just so slow, dude.
It looks good on my screen.
Are you sure? Because to me, it's like slow motion. Don't even do it yet, because I can see that it doesn't even have me. I'm gonna back out of here, actually.
Okay.
I'm gonna back out.
All right. Technical difficulties, fuckos.
Yeah. Well, as I told Chris, I'm running Big Sur. Okay, this looks a little better. Let's see here. Let's see what's happening. It is. No, but then it's still like I see green screen when I shouldn't.
See, I don't.
I should see. You don't?
Nope.
I do. Like when I'm looking on my computer right now.
I'll mute that one.
Here we go. Now I'm seeing it. Okay. All right.
You.
All right. Well, I'm going to switch up. I'm going to hang up on this.
All right. And there you are.
Woo. How's that?
That's good. You're back.
Fuck yeah. That's good. Back. All right.
So anyway, that was our magic trick tonight. We went from phone to computer in a single jump. All good though. Hey, it's internet. It doesn't have to.
Down here at the thrift shop, chop, 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 chop.
Yeah, what's the story with the thrift shop?
Oh man, I had such a fun weekend with Susan. We went thrifting.
You went, first of all, before you even say about what you did, you went quiet. I usually hear from you over the weekend. And I usually see like a bunch of pictures of you on Facebook now, admittedly, a lot of time you're gigging. But you just disappeared this weekend. I didn't see or hear from you Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, or today.
Well, I was spending time with my lady, and also I had a ton of work to do on my guitars.
Okay.
The Charvel guitars that I play, I've been playing those for almost 3 years now, and they were just so gunked up. Like I'll show you actually. Hopefully, yeah. Can you see this?
Yeah.
Beautiful guitar. This is one of my four. Yeah, this is one of my 4 Charvels that I have.
Okay.
And this here is the whammy bar, the Floyd Rose whammy bar.
Okay.
I got tired of it being floating because it sucks up so much of my life when I have to change strings. You can put me back to regular. But this here in the back, you could see the spring. There's a whole contraption here.
Right.
Okay. And I had to put this stopper thing in there. It's like a tremolo block, basically. So now it can't pull up, which is great because basically trying to tune this thing with new strings is you'll go mad. And also just having to even take strings off, unless you do it one at a time, the whole thing collapses backwards and stuff. But if you have one of these stoppers in there, you can't pull up, but it'll at least keep it stable and you could work on the guitar so much more easily. And so anyway, I have 4 of these. So I had to go through 4 different Charvels and actually take apart all the saddle systems for each of the 6 strings. Each string has a saddle on there. Okay. Now what was messing me up, these saddles have to go a certain way. And to me, when I was looking at the individual saddles, they all looked the same. They looked like 6 of the same saddle.
Okay.
But they're not the same. In the factory, when they make them, they go with the curvature of the neck. Okay. So there's like 3 different or 2 different ones or something. There's like 2 that are the same that go on the outsides, 2 on the inside, 2 on the inside or something. But it took me a while. Like I had the wrong ones on one of the guitar and I was getting all bummed out because the strings were at the wrong like levels. And I'm like, fuck, I can't play this thing. And I was just determined. I know you get this way, Chris, like when you're doing tech stuff you're like, I'm going to fucking figure this out if it kills me. And that's where I was doing. Like I was up till maybe 1 a.m, like Friday night and Saturday night. I had the coffee going. I figured out finally that on the back of those damn saddles, if you're anybody that's ever going to have to do this, there's little braille like numbers on there. Like it's either 1 dot, 2 dots, or 3 dots. Okay. And that's the heights. So you know that the number 1 dots are on the outside. You have to get it's like 1, 2, 2, 3 or whatever on there. And that's how you determine which ones go there. But took a long time. It wasn't readily available. That information was not on YouTube. It's not something that you could just. So you're hearing it here first on Chris Akin Presents. Those of you rockers out there that play Floyd Rose guitars, eventually when you get out of the bedroom and have to play shows and you're all sweaty, that shit gets in there, gets gunked up. You can't tune it right. It starts. You have to take it apart. It's like a weapon. It's like a rifle.
Right.
You got to take it and oil it and clean it. It's your musical weapon. You know.
Sure. Now let me ask you this, because I know nothing about this. If you weren't playing Charvels, would you have to buy different parts? Like completely,
really.
Like if you were playing Ibanez guitars, would you have to get a completely different set?
Yeah. Well, Johnny plays an Ibanez RG guitar, and he has like a similar tremolo, but his is called an Edge. I don't know what kind of maintenance he does on that himself. Sure. I've always used like Les Pauls and Telecasters. Michael Charvel made me a Telecaster that I've shown on the show before. I can grab it to show everybody, but that was just a standard bridge Telecaster. He saw me playing a Fender one and he thought it was really cool. So Michael Charvel said, I'll build you a Wayne is their company now, Wayne Telecaster. So I played that for years. I had my old workhorse Les Paul Studio that I took around forever. Blando from Slaughter still plays those. He loves them too. I mean, he actually isn't endorsing a company right now, but forever he played the same guitar I did. It's like a 92 Les Paul Studio, heavy as hell. But yeah, I just played it on those guitars. It wasn't until the pandemic where I got bored and I had a little cash and I go, I want to check out the Charvels. And I started buying them and I realized quickly, holy shit, I'm going to need a backup for the backups, man. Cause there's a lot that could go on with these, you know, obviously you can only lock it into one tuning. So we have at least 2 tunings. So I'm going to need 2 right there. And then I'm going to need 2, a backup for each of the back of those. So that's how I came to have 4 of them.
So are you a full-time Charvel player now?
In Stephen's band, I have been dragging these everywhere. You know, 2 of them I've been dragging on a plane in a soft case. We've talked about Southwest Airlines, how they even Delta. That's right. This guy loves the Charvel Whitey. Jakey Lee and Warren DeMartini were both Charvel players, so I'm definitely carrying on the tradition as a West Coast rocker to continue playing them.
And as somebody that plays Rat songs. Both of those guys played Rat songs.
And honestly, it makes a difference. Like I always had a great tone on my Les Paul, to be sure, but it wasn't necessarily the Rat tone. You know what I mean? You get that from the Duncan and the Seymour, this bolt-on neck thing. I don't know. Somehow it just works together and it makes that sound that they get. And I definitely was achieving it easier with the Charvels, but they're a pain in the ass.
Answer me this question. And again, I can't play guitar for dick. I can play like every other hack. I can play, you know, doon, 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 you know, the intro to Stairway to Heaven, you know, you know, that's about the extent of my playing. I can, what do they call it? Pick play, where you just pick a couple of strings. You know? Okay.
Well, Stairway to Heaven's not easy to play.
Well, I can't play the real parts. I'm talking about just the one note acoustic. I know where the notes are. I'll put it that way. I know where to put my fingers and which string to hit to get the right song, the right sounds on the doon 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 doon. You know, the beginning part. That being said, I cannot play for. I played for a little while. I tried. I really tried. You know, I at one point I had a bunch of generic cheap Flying V's because they used to sell them in Korea for like $45.
Sure, they make so many guitars there in Korea still.
Yeah, but these weren't the good ones. These were, if you would play an Epiphone, I was playing a Jepiphone. Okay, I mean, it was just generic garbage. It was not real. You know, if you were playing a Jackson, I was playing a Haxon. I mean, it just, they weren't real.
They called them like Chibsons. Well, those ones made in China. If it was made in China, there's a lot of knockoffs.
Everything in Korea was a knockoff. You know, if you bought a Rolex watch, it was a Rolex watch. You know, it wasn't, or it was like 2 L's in the Rolex. And it was the same with guitars. But I did own a few. And when I owned a few, I tried to learn to play. But I'll tell you, I made the mistake that everybody tries to play. I tried starting to play way further along than I should have started. Like, I should have started with, Marietta Little Lamb or whatever, just learning finger chords and stuff. And no, instead I was sitting there trying to make you're going to laugh because this is such a fucking dumb, obscure reference, but I was trying to play the guitar leads when I was trying to teach myself to Aldo Nova albums, the first Aldo Nova album, which is a lot of really kind of intense guitar playing.
Yeah.
And I'm like trying to play this, and meanwhile, I don't even know chords. I didn't know any. I'm just like, I would hear a note and I would sit there for a fucking hour going, bing, 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 trying to find that note. And then I would find the next note and I'd be like, bing, 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 bing. And then I just got frustrated and gave up. I just couldn't. I could never do it because I never learned the basics.
Right. I got, scared. Always knew I wanted to play guitar, even at like age 5.
Right.
And I would hound my parents that I wanted a guitar. But they almost made it so I wouldn't play it in a way. Like, they gave me an acoustic guitar, which I wanted an electric. They gave me an acoustic, and it was a cheap one that had like the action was super high, and there's no way my little kid fingers was going to be able to play it.
Sure.
So it was very difficult to play. Not a great starter guitar for me. They took me to get lessons at this place in New Jersey. Now, the guy that gave the lessons didn't even fucking play guitar. He looked like Orville Redenbacher. He was in a wheelchair and he had a piano, and he was the creepiest dude. And I did not like him. And soon as my parents left, he became a total prick and was like, "Cat, that's wrong." And, he would grab the guitar and clank it into his wheelchair. And I actually did start crying at one point. I was like, "Stop crying." It was like the most terrible 30 minutes of my life, pretty much. And after that, I didn't even want to go back, and it wasn't until I was 15 that I ended up getting a guitar. And some of my friends played at that point, and we would get that guitar for the Practicing Musician magazine. And we would hope that it would have some tabs in there to learn, like a Metallica song or whatever. I distinctly remember learning like Fade to Black and songs like that. Good evening, Lisa.
Are you like music trained? Like you could read music and stuff?
I actually did take piano lessons where I was reading music. If I was to have to do that right now, it would take me a long time to sit there and figure out what the staff notes are. But I don't really need to read music for what I do. Right. Pretty much just play by ear. I mean, we know chords names, you know what I mean? If we have to throw those out.
Yeah, but if somebody threw you a page, and it was like C and an eighth note of an A,
I would pretend like I knew what that was.
You're like, oh yeah, let me put it here on the stand.
Oh no, if it said like A and A sharp, yeah, I know, I could read that. Yeah. And I know what some of the stuff means, but I do, when I was like 10 to 12, I was actually playing a lot of piano, taking lessons, doing recitals that were actually pretty impressive, but I kind of just got away from it. I mean, I have a keyboard here that I use for music production, but it's not even a full size one. I just use it more as a synthesizer. I do the drums with it, and,
Were you in band? Were you like in high school band or junior
no,
high band?
They didn't. I don't even know if we had that, to be honest. I don't know if we had it. Maybe we did. I don't. No,
you weren't in it though.
I wasn't in it. So that answers that.
Yeah, because I was in the band, playing arguably the gayest instrument that I could be put into. My mom, of course, signed me up to play flute.
Oh no!
So I was a flautist for a minute, but the cool thing about band,
the flute and band camp, huh?
Yeah, pretty. Well, I never went to band camp. I can honestly say I never went to band camp, but I did play flute, and I'll tell you, did it suck and get me a beating or two in 7th and 8th grade? Yes, it did. It absolutely did.
Did you ever beat anybody's ass with the flute?
I actually did hit somebody with it once. I never beat their ass with it, but I actually did bend it, and my mom lost her goddamn mind because I did swing it once and hit somebody with it and bent it, and then it wouldn't fit like back together once I took it apart and put it in my little fruity case.
Oh shit!
So then we had to take it to a music store. It was like $300 to fit it or whatever they did, reshape it, or my mom was
Are they
mad.
that expensive, flutes?
They were then. I mean, back then they were probably like $600 or something.
Wow.
So I don't know what they call. They're expensive because it has a lot of little, it has mechanisms on it. And every one of them has pads in it, and so there's a lot
maxi
of
pads.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
But the nice thing about doing the flute as the queer that I was at that point was 9th and 10th grade band. All the girls that were just trolls in 7th and 8th grade, they were pretty hot by that point.
Right.
And the way we were positioned, if you ever seen a band classroom, they sit you according to what you play. So the fruits,
they got to spread their legs for the oboe, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't know about all that. I didn't see that, but they weren't in my row. But my row, my little round row was all of the flute players and all of the first clarinet. And let me tell you, in that row of people, there was one guy, me. So, it was definitely kind of cool to be mixed up with all the hot girls that were in the band. So right. I didn't hate it as much, but I quit 2 years in. 2 years in, I just couldn't. A lot of it too had to do with me. I was playing sports too, so needless to say, I wasn't like in the march. I never was in the marching band because I always was playing either football or wrestling or whatever. So,
that's where you lost me because I was terrible at sports.
I was all state 2 years, man.
Well, there you go. That's where we went our different paths because I was like, I got to get this guitar thing. That's my only chance to get chicks. And I'm glad I stuck with it, though. I mean, I was definitely a very average kid playing the guitar at first. It really did take decades to be like able to play the stuff I played today. That's the difference between me and Warren DeMartini. Like he was playing that stuff when he was 19 years old.
Well, where was the transition? Was there like a specific gig or a specific moment, or did you just wake up one day and figured, hey, I'm a lot better than I thought I was?
Well, that would be definitely after playing in Stephen's band. Like,
did you think you sucked when you joined?
I didn't suck by any means. I mean, definitely all my rhythm playing was on par, but I had to do my own interpretations of like some of the solos because there was no way I could physically do it. But fortunately, we didn't play like all the Rat set we play today. We weren't doing them. We were playing arcade. We was even playing some songs he and I wrote on one of his deep cuts of his earlier records. So I would say we only had probably 4 or 5 Rat songs we were playing.
Okay. What years was that? What year?
That was like 2001, 2 and 3, pretty much. And then people were disappointed in that. They wanted to hear more Rat stuff, as you would think.
Yeah, sure.
They would. So they would be yelling for these songs, and like little by little, we would start kind of incorporating a few more of the Rat ones. And now we, it's mostly a Rat set. Occasionally we'll play some of the stuff from the solo albums and a couple covers, but the transition, the turning point, I would say was probably like maybe 2005.
Okay.
When we were playing enough that I just started going, yeah, I'm definitely way better than I was as a few years earlier, playing just in the local bands in San Diego.
Right.
But that was in the 90s. So there weren't even guitar solos happening. It was all about tone and rhythm and whatever. So that's where the Les Pauls and stuff came in and Telecasters and stuff like that. Right. So I was kind of bringing that 90s thing into Stephen's band, which wasn't really what their fans probably wanted to see.
Right.
But eventually, I was copping the style better and better, and definitely using these guitars, you could do the stuff more accurately.
Sure. Well, I know you pretty well to know too, though. If somebody said that you didn't sound right, you would have played your ass off at home. You would have practiced and practiced and practiced and practiced. Is that what happened? Is that somebody said something to you and you just go ahead?
Oh, no. Definitely. Like, well, especially like when I first was brought out there because I was replacing someone that was getting fired. You know what I mean? So I didn't have much time to get ready for it. And I think some guy said just that. He's like, man, you need to work on those Warren DeMartini solos or whatever. I was like, hey, I'll get it. Fuck you, dude. I knew I'd eventually get it, but I wasn't going to not do it or give up or go, oh, I don't want to embarrass myself. I mean, I'm glad I I stuck with it. I mean, most
Right.
people don't probably notice those little things. The guitar players probably did. But eventually I did, pull it together, and, still to this day, I learn little things that I was doing not quite right, and then I'll change it.
Yeah.
There's a lot more available. Like it's a lot easier for people now on YouTube. Everything's on there. Every lesson
Sure.
to pretty much every popular guitar song out there is available. None of that was around in 2001. I mean, YouTube didn't even start till 2006. So that added to the,
But
problem.
the interesting thing though with you is you pay attention to every gig. Like you and me are similar this way. I listen to every interview that I do. I listen back to every single one. Doesn't matter who it is. Doesn't matter if they're famous or not. I did 2 earlier today, Michael Franzese and Julia Poorman, the singer. And I will be listening to both of them tomorrow in their entirety because I study what I do. And I want to be the best interviewer. I don't want to be a good interviewer. I don't want when people talk about me interviewing them to say, well, you and Eddie Trunk and Howard Stern. I don't even want it needs to be me, then Eddie Trunk and Howard Stern. I'm like that. I picture you just by things that you've said to me, and I'll tell what they are without telling exactly what they are. I brought up a gig to you on the phone one day, and you said that there was like sound problems or something at the gig, like with the sound guy or whatever.
Right.
But the one thing you said to me was, well, there was not a lot of video of the show. And I just thought, well, that's you. That means you're looking for video of the show to try and analyze how much sound problems there were. And you do that a lot, don't you?
I used to do that. I certainly do that with our show because I am a newbie with the podcasting thing. So I'm trying to get better at this. So I have watched all of our shows, and I cringe at some of the stuff I say or do. You know what I mean? I work on it. I used to, years ago with the Pearcy, when YouTube was out, I would scour looking for videos. I actually don't so much now. There's enough that pops up on my feed from the fans that posted the groups. Sure. If I see something, I'll click on it to see how the audio is on it. And I'll notice a few things, but at the same time, I have to let some things kind of roll anyway. You know what I mean? Because some situations, it is what it is, like we were saying, the sound guy or whatever, or it's where the person's filming from just sounds terrible. Sometimes I don't want to listen to it if it sounds bad. Right. I'm like, ugh. And I'll just, if I think I found a clip that sounds great, I'll probably share it, Right. Sure. But that doesn't happen so much. It's hard to get good quality phone sound.
Yeah. And especially people that are up close. Let me make that statement to anybody that's at a show with their phone. And I'm not the guy. I'm not like so many people are like, don't film. I actually watch a lot of filmed YouTube stuff, so I enjoy it, especially bands that I'm not going to see. I will watch a full cam shot vid if it's a good one. That being said, if you're in the front 5 rows, don't bother. Don't bother uploading it to YouTube because it's like, yeah, look at this. It's Stephen Pearcy. It's Wanted Man. It's like,
yeah, it's stupid.
Snake eyes.
Right.
That's all you hear.
Yeah, the sound booth for everybody that's out there. That's if you're in that location, you're probably getting the best sound. Of the whole thing. You'd have to be pretty much that far back. Exactly. Well, I definitely wanted to tell you about my thrift shopping experience. I don't know if we have time or have to do it later.
Well, let's see. God, we got like 2 minutes before Norm Skinner's. We will do it. We'll do it after Norm Skinner. How's that?
Okay, that sounds good.
But we will, because we're probably, I'm just going to tell you, me and you have not talked at all, but this is probably going to be a long show tonight because I have stuff to talk about in my day as well. But since we do have 2 guests tonight, so we want to give them their time as well. We have, like I said, Norman Skinner, who is most famous for, he was in the band of Magica for you power metal people. And he is now the frontman of the band Forbidden, the thrashers out of San Francisco. But he also has a solo record, which is called The Dark Design, which is out there. It's fucking killer as well. So I did
listen to some of that today.
It's killer, right?
It is. And it was funny. There's another Skinner. I don't know if you're aware of this.
Yeah.
But there's a guy that's a lot like, remember the first episode we did when I put that funny video everybody hated.
Yeah.
I'm going smoko. Yeah. So leave me alone. I'm going smoko.
I remember.
It's a guy that looks like the Smoko guy. And it's like Smoko music.
Right.
And his name's Skinner. And I don't know if he's another guy from the UK.
I don't think
we'll have to ask him about that.
I'm pretty sure it's not the same guy.
I know. Like, the first song I heard of Skinner was awesome. I'm like, oh, I like this. It was almost kind of Soundgarden-ish.
Yeah.
And then
you got that shitty guy.
And then that guy, we'll have to pull that guy up.
Nice. Well, we have Norman Skinner will be on here in just a few minutes. He's actually in the green room waiting for us to stop yammering. So we will do so in just a second. But before we do that, we also have Miss Bella Perron of the band Plush is going to be checking in about Plush's new single Left Behind, what's going on with the new album. She has a new website. She's doing guitar lessons, all kinds of stuff. So
I think my heart just skipped a beat, man. I don't know. I have a heart condition. I don't know if I can handle this.
Well, you know my love for Plush. They are definitely my sweet spot band.
Is it hot in here?
Yeah. Oh, man, it's getting a little warm. But for now, what we will do, we are going to take a very, very quick break. We are going to play, as soon as I get to the right screen, we are going to play some music, which we don't do that terribly often here, but we're going to play some music from The Dark Design, from Skinner. We are going to play a little bit of the title track, and then we will be back with Norman Skinner right here on Chris Akin Presents.